Welcome to the Workplace Violence Prevention in California training course. Workplace violence is among the top leading causes of workplace fatalities, and there are thousands of non-fatal, violent on-the-job incidents each year. Workplace violence can occur at any business or workplace, and anyone can be a victim. Therefore, it's important for you to know how to prevent these incidents and what to do if you encounter a potentially violent situation at work. This session also covers your employer's workplace violence prevention plan, how to report incidents, the workplace violence hazards of your job, and information about the violent incident log. At the completion of this module, you will be able to describe the 4 types of workplace violence, identify workplace violence risk factors, recall engineering and administrative controls, recognize the signs of potential violence, diffuse potentially violent situations safely, and respond appropriately to a violent incident. California Senate Bill number 553, or SB 553, and the California Labor Code requires your employer to establish, implement, and maintain an effective workplace violence prevention plan. Your employer has implemented a violence prevention plan that is specific to your workplace. Employees were involved in creating and implementing the plan. You will receive this training annually. Initial hazard evaluation and inspections were completed when the plan was first created, and inspections will also take place after each incident of workplace violence and whenever your employer is made aware of a new hazard. Your employer will conduct ongoing workplace violence hazard inspections. In addition to investigating workplace violence incidents, your employer will maintain an incident log along with other record-keeping requirements. Workplace violence is any act of violence or threat of violence that occurs in a place of employment, including the threat or use of physical force against an employee that results in or has a high likelihood of resulting in injury, psychological trauma, or stress, regardless of whether the employee sustains an injury. It also includes an incident involving a threat or the use of a firearm or another dangerous weapon, including the use of common objects as weapons, regardless of whether the employee sustains an injury. Workplace violence does not include lawful acts of self-defense or the defense of others. Here are some terms you should become familiar with throughout the session. An emergency is an unanticipated circumstance that can be life-threatening or pose a risk of significant injuries to employees or other people. Engineering controls are aspects of the built space or a device that removes a hazard from the workplace or creates a barrier between the worker and the hazard. The log refers to the violent incident log. The plan refers to your employer's workplace violence prevention plan. A threat of violence is any verbal or written statement, including but not limited to text messages, electronic messages, social media messages, or other online posts, or any behavioral or physical conduct that conveys any intent or that is reasonably perceived to convey an intent to cause physical harm or to place someone in fear of physical harm and that serves no legitimate purpose. Work practice or administrative controls are procedures and rules that are used to effectively reduce workplace violence hazards. Your employer has a zero tolerance policy regarding violence at your facility. To reduce the possibility of a workplace violence event, your employer has developed, with your input, a